you totally follow me on Snapchat, then you know that this is just how I am. Just like this all the time. Welcome to the desk in my studio. I am Glady-Ann from Glady-Ann Photography. That's probably obvious. And I just wrapped up what I called the 10 and 10 project. What the hell's the 10 and 10 project? Basically, I left for Europe. Before I left for Europe, I knew my weakness was procrastination, so I set this shit up so that when I came home, I had no excuses. I had work to do. So I set up what was called 10 and 10. 10 being the first 10 being 10 people in 10 days. So I wanted to shoot about 10 sessions in about 10 days. It was just a challenge I set out for myself, and it was amazing. And I just wrapped it up recently. And I want to share with you, I want to share with you all the shit I learned. So how about that? 10 things I learned from my 10 and 10 project. Ooh, all them 10s, because I'm a 10. Let's move on. Okay, so number 1, LipSense rocks. Go check out Killer Lips by Christine because I love LipSense. And as a photographer, let me just show you. All right, do you see that? Do you see that? My lips are what you're looking at. My lips are what you see the most of on the other side of the camera. You don't see my eyeballs because I'm squinting. Lips are important and that shit lasts all day. Love it. New photographer's best friend little tool in my kit. Number 2, my workflow. Trello, Pinterest, and Lightroom are my new best friends in my workflow. Because, okay, let's start with Trello. I organize all the shit about my clients in my project in there. Show you basically the behind the scenes. I will have my big reflector board, my ladder holding up said reflector board, and a tripod with my iPad on it. And on that iPad, I'll have my Trello board and my Pinterest app open, and I will be able to switch back and forth for inspiration and back to Trello for my shot list checklist, okay? Because as photographers, we love what we do, so we get carried away. Lightroom should be obvious to most people who are photographers. However, I was a diehard, still am diehard Photoshop person. If I need to make sure something's done and I can only choose one, I would choose Photoshop. However, Lightroom is speeding shit up for me. So I'll do my initial calling and editing in Lightroom, pop on over those final ones over to Photoshop to fine tune them and send them out. Cutting my editing time probably in half. Checklist. Boom, number 3. Everybody hates something about themselves, okay? But let's list off the 2 main ones. Their smile or their arms. They're both in one. Those are the number 1 things I hear about people. Oh, hide my arms, or, you know, do my arms look too fat in that, or whatever. And, oh, I don't like smiling because it does this to my face. I'm like, yeah, it does. You're smiling. 4. I missed shooting people. Like, I really missed it. Even before I left for Europe, I had actually put portraits on the back burner and I focused on my stock business, which there is evidence of that probably everywhere. Yeah, and I missed shooting people. So when I came back and I shot like 12 people, like bam, bam, thank you, ma'am, wham, bit, whatever. I loved it. Like, I freaking loved it. I was on a high of awesomeness. Whatever. Number 5. I learned limits about myself. I learned that I need to take care of myself because I would get so wrapped up in sessions to the point where I wasn't properly feeding myself in the morning or snacking during if it's a long, or having something prepped and ready to eat after. There were some days where I totally just forgot to eat, and then I would feel pretty not so good. I need to drink more water. All these great and grand things we need to do for ourselves. I am running on adrenaline and excitement and like high energy. I'm a high energy photographer. You need someone who's high energy, who's gonna nearly fall off of an apple box while dancing to One Direction. I'm your girl, okay? Whatever. Lesson number 7. Well, hello, I'm editing the video right now, and I realize I totally skipped over number 6. What is number 6? Number 6 was finding the limitations to my studio space. I definitely learned more about my space and how to master my space. So there is number 6. Let's move on. Whatever. Lesson number 7, I learned my limits on actual numbers of sessions that I can handle reasonably while working my other business too, because that first week I shot 8 sessions in a week, and one of them had 3 in a day. So that was a bit much for me, I'm not gonna lie. Because number 8 thing I learned via this project 10 and 10 was about my comfort zones and how I jumped out of them when it came to situations that obviously weren't comfortable. Like, okay, the 3 in 1 day, not something I normally would do. Moving on to number 9, I definitely need to shoot more boho and ballet and styled sessions in general because those were freaking bomb. They were bomb. In fact, they were badass. So I definitely want to make sure I schedule a couple more styled sessions per month because that's awesome. Number 10, and this is last but definitely not least, I learned about being imperfect and being vulnerable and putting yourself out there and not caring that you aren't ready, whatever the fuck that means, because that has been the most beneficial thing. It has yielded the best results for me as self-development and as business growth and as interaction and engagement goes. When you just put yourself out there, you finally have something to learn from. So I could probably blab about this for like another 20 minutes, but I'm probably just gonna post about it later. So number 10, being imperfect and vulnerable has been the best thing for both me and my business. So, yeah, there you go. So those are my 10 things I learned from my 10 and 10 project that I just wrapped up. Blah, 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 blah. Right, so that's my 10 things I learned from my 10 and 10 project. Thank you so much for following along on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you follow. Stay tuned to see all the awesomeness. And yeah, thank you.